a guy that I want to give thanks to, Chuck Norris. Mark's talking about how awesome an actor Chuck Norris is. And I'm like, Mark, he's a B movie actor. He's not an A movie. He said, he's the shit, man. He said, if I saw Chuck Norris, I'll whoop his ass, right? Mark's like, you could never kick his ass. There's a picture here of Tom on the phone in a restaurant that opened on a Sunday that was closed. And he's on the phone. A guy that I want to give thanks to, Chuck Norris. He calls us. He goes, hey, guys. And we're like, what? You know, he goes, listen, a lot of people are going to be coming at you, dues and everything. And he knew the reintegration folks. He's a behind-the-scenes supporter, doesn't say a word. He said, my ranch is ready for you guys and your families if you need privacy. You can meet me there or not. It doesn't matter. You're welcome to come here. You're welcome to come here if you need a place, a safe haven. Wow. He wanted nothing out of it. Nobody even knew he called us. But the funny thing is, here's a funny story. I didn't know how much Mark liked Norris as an actor. So as we say, we're arguing about everything. We're laying in the jungle at night, and this starts a fucking war. Mark's talking about how awesome an actor Chuck Norris is. And I'm like, Mark, he's a B movie actor. He's not an A movie. He said, he's the shit, man. And Tom was just needling Mark, right? He goes, shit. That's all bullshit. And Mark's no, because, I mean, Norris is a legit karate guy. It's legit. Tom's house. He says, shit, if I saw Chuck Norris, I'll whoop his fucking ass, right? Mark's like, you could never kick his ass. Right? So they're yelling, right? Tom's like, if I ever get to see him, I'm kicking his ass. Well, then on the phone, holy shit. Tom confesses to Norris. He said, Chuck, I got to tell you, I'm sorry. So when I told Mark in the jungle, if I saw you whoop your ass, he said, I'm going to take that back. So, I mean, come on.
Damn.
Come on. And then, the jungle, the whole time, it was like, Tom's like, I could take Chuck Norris. Just silly shit. This is triggering me remembering stuff here, But a lot of people that didn't want any credit, and Norris didn't want any. It was basically a secret call through actually Doug Sanders, who knew him. And he was just going to make that offer. And he said, we'll get you out here, get your family out here. If you guys need a piece, you got all the time you want. So I thought that was pretty, we didn't accept it because we didn't need it. But the fact the guy took his time out to make the offer, and I found out later he's done a bunch of stuff, doesn't say a word. Come on. That was. And then afterwards, laughing at Tom about apologizing to Chuck Norris about wanting to kick his ass. That was funny. Obviously Chuck was laughing, and that was a whole joke.
I mean, I would imagine coming back's just a whole mix of feelings and maybe some new fears. I mean, did you have any fears about coming back, about maybe your family had moved on?
I did not have any fears. Obviously, my significant other that I wasn't married to, she moved on and got married. That was okay. That captivity buried the hatchet with my father and I. So it repaired our relationship there. Some tragedies, people dying. I had a first cousin who was like a big brother to me, really more an uncle. And I wanted to see him, and my dad asked to pull me to the side and said, no, he got killed, in a car crash, but, truck crash. And then some of your friends, some trap people had passed. You're like, oh, shit, they were young. And then the whole thing where you guys were at, the whole thing in the sandbox, I mean, we weren't there watching it on TV every night. So the whole escalation of the war in the Middle East for us was like, holy shit, to really see it. Just like, I'll give you an example of the CEO at the time of Verizon. We made comments, something about cell phones or whatever, and just to knock at the door one day in this backpack with all this gifts and the latest and greatest, which then they called it a smartphone, it wasn't compared to today, was from the CEO. And he's like, hey, welcome back, guys. Maybe this will help you a little bit. some anonymous people did some things for us, not necessarily monetarily, right, but did some things. You're like, wow, somebody's really thinking. And but just trying to adjust to life, and something that I was telling about Hilo was difficult for me. So my parents have a house rented for me, and it's a bigger, more beautiful home than I've ever lived in. And I roll in there. I'm like, can I afford this? And my dad's like, yeah, you can afford it. And, I mean, the best savings program in the world is get 6 years of pay, right? So, our company took care of us. The son of a bitch about that thing was the instrument holding pattern for rotor wing aircraft. So the airport was right over my flipping house. So I'm laying in bed the first night and I hear a helicopter, and I sat up like, holy shit, but then it became a joke, right? It actually helped me. But, the Army each had a psych force. Mine was a wonderful guy, and we had a wonderful chaplain that really helped us. And so we were followed and we were helped. The company gave us 6 or 8 months off, I think. And then they really took care of us. And we all had jobs. And so Mark basically retired almost immediately. He did some security work for the company, but Mark was ready to retire. Tom retired a little bit too. I was the only one that really stayed on. And but just getting your feet on the ground, just trying to, get up and turn on a stove, just look at, oh my God, I can turn a stove on. Or, we used to urinate in a plastic bottle. So if I sat up out of my hammock, I had to ask guard permission to urinate, and he'd put a flashlight on you. You pee in a bottle. It's like, well, I can get up and go to the bathroom on my own. I don't have to ask anybody. But this thing is ingrained in your head, right? So even though you can get up and go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen or do something, you're still kind of like psychologically, you're just decompressing. So there was a large adjustment on that.
I can imagine. A
large adjustment on that. And I just thank God for the help that the three of us had compared to other people, And then we knew our future was going to change, right, for all of us. And I can't remember the last time I did a television interview, but the first couple of years out, there was a lot of demand. And we wrote our book. We had to do like a book tour and stuff like that. And then, it was the 5 minutes of fame. And I will tell you this, when that was over, it was fine with me. I learned one thing, after you, especially up in New York City, and you're doing these talk shows and all this stuff, right? There are some people who just eat that up and they want to just be in front of the camera. They just want to. I wanted to support our mission and what we were about and our book and all of that stuff. But I didn't really necessarily want to do that. And I'll never forget, I'm leaving New York City. I go to the airport, and our book has just been launched. And they say #1 New York Times. No, it's #2. And the publishers are, going back and forth and arguing. So I walk into a bookstore in the airport, and there's like 100 of our books stacked up in this big elaborate display, and there's a cardboard cut out of pictures of us. And I just stood there in front of it. Not a person recognized me. I'm on the news. We're on the news. We're doing the, I'm just standing there. I'm like, it's kind of funny. And I'm sitting there, people picking up the book and buying it and looking at it. And I'm really humbled. But I was like, wow. And I'll never forget, I walked into a Target. And I didn't know that Starbucks is in Target or whatever. And I got a cup of coffee. And this guy walks up behind me, and he just whispers in my ear. He goes, hey, bro, I got the coffee. Welcome back.
Wow.
And walked away.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.